So what was I left in? So there's the Warnings API, documentation on how to access the Warnings API provided by MeteoAlarm. So there's a nice documentation page provided, and also for the subsurface observations on how to get started and how to retrieve data from the API, with concrete examples on how to use the API with machine readable ways, also through the MQTT. What else is in the website is the overview of the whole project, the terms and conditions, architecture, etc., provided in a documentation with pictures of what the purpose of MeteoGate is and how it's built. Then there's the API keys. So we are providing a developer portal where you can get an API key which helps you access data. There's a brief documentation on how to access the data and why you should create an API key and use it. So basically, some of the endpoints in MeteoGate are provided only via accessing them with your own API key, and also countries publishing their own APIs through MeteoGate can restrict the access to only registered users. The API portal provides credentials, so you can sign up with GitHub or Google, or you can ask for your own account just directly to MeteoGate. But since I mostly use GitHub, I will just use my SSO login to GitHub. From the developer portal, a user get their API key, which can then be used to access the routes. Currently, all the routes are shown in the info panel at show routes. And there's some configured, for example, the Open Radar data, the Warnings API, climate observations, and so on. Currently, we are in the works of adding more routes and making the route configurations more clear, and, for example, providing users with on what your API key allows to the route, for example, requests per second. Then this is all from the website, and now I will show the Open Data Explorer, which is GeoWeb basically provided together with MeteoGate. The Open Data Explorer is an instance of GeoWeb, and it is designed for meteorologists and forecasters, but we are providing certain presets to access the MeteoGate data. Currently, they are behind my login information, so I'll just log in there. Because I've already logged into the dev portal, it automatically allows me to log in with my GitHub account to Data Explorer as well. From the Data Explorer, you see the Data Explorer which accesses the WIS2 catalog. So if you are providing your API through WIS2, or you will see those APIs in the catalog. Currently, none of the MeteoGate systems are in the catalog, so I cannot demonstrate them through that. But I have made a preset for all the MeteoGate components to visualize data. When I open the MeteoGate preset, what it does, it loads all the available locations from the Surface Observations API. So this is the Rodeo Work Packet 3, or so-called ESO API. And these are all the stations providing data to ESO currently. As you can see, there's a lot of stations everywhere around the globe, but mostly in Europe. And I will now open, for example, Helsinki Kumpula, which is the FMI main headquarters, and I've made some presets to publish so that I can visualize hourly data from there. So for example, here is the every hour's aggregations from Kumpula. You can see the maximum, mean, and minimum temperatures of Kumpula from today. So yeah, as Jaakko previously said, we are having minus 20-degree temperatures currently in Helsinki, or almost. I can also check for more parameters. So for example, if I'm interested in with parameters which have a smaller duration. So for example, mean aggregations every minute, I can add it and the Open Data Explorer will fetch it. And now we have data from every 10 minutes. Or if we have stations which measure data every minute, for example, the Vuosaari Harbor, I can see that now I have data every minute from Vuosaari Harbor. If I would be interested in, for example, UK weather, let's say Heathrow, somewhere around here. Yes, that's the Heathrow automatic weather station. I could select the Heathrow station, but because ESOF is homogenizing the observation names, I need to check what kind of parameters Heathrow is publishing. So for example, I'm trying to get air temperature 2 meters, aggregation mean, and 1 hour, but Heathrow is not publishing that. But I can see from the source that Heathrow is publishing point data as air temperature. So what I can do, I can add the new parameter here, see that it's available, and add it to the visualizing system. And then I can see that Heathrow currently is at 4.8 degrees, so a bit warmer than here in Finland. Also, this is a layer made from the Open Radar Data API. So here you can see all the data, all the radars publishing data to the ORD. I can also add more layers from the ORD here. So this currently is the reflectivity from Opera. I'm not a radar guy, so you need to ask somebody else for more information on radars. What we are currently doing with the Data Explorer are we are adding these presets so that they are publicly available. So currently this is only preset made for me, and when we have the time, I will post these presets that they are available to all users of MeteoGate as a simple way of just clicking the MeteoGate data. Does anybody have any questions on the Data Explorer before I move on to other stuff? All right. I've also made some presets to accessing the APIs, so I can demonstrate that the APIs are accessible through MeteoGate and they're live. So, for example, this is the warnings API collections describing all the metadata in the warnings API, the different awareness types, temporal and spatial extents. I can also check for the locations publishing the warnings. So here are all the countries which are part of the Meteo Alarm publishing data through the warnings API. So I can see Malta and Slovenia, North Macedonia, Portugal, etc. And if I would want to access the warnings through MeteoGate, I could just query for all. So as you can see, here's today. and all the warnings published through the Meteo alarm today. So at least I can see some warnings from Hungary and the Netherlands. Or if I'm only interested in a single country's alarms, I can provide the locations NL. So these are only from the Netherlands. There's a question from Jaakko.
Yeah, I just wanted to check that does the Data Explorer also visualize the warnings coming from MeteoGate or not?
Currently, there's no way of. I haven't done a preset for it, so that's one of the things I'm doing when I get. We are still integrating some stuff, so I need some adjustments to the presets API, which provides these presets, and after that, I can do a preset for the warnings, and that's one of the things on my to-do list. Also, any more questions on warnings? Then I'll move onwards on my demonstration. So the same way, the open radar data is publicly available through MeteoGate from radar.meteogate.eu. Here is also the collections and the different values and types of data you can get, GeoTIFF and ODIM. I can get the locations publishing the radar composites. There's the Vigus ID and the parameter names on what the radar is publishing. And as an example, I've taken Kaunispää, which is the most recent radar of FMI. So if I query for Kaunispää, I get all the values on when there's data available. And there you can check the links to the S3 bucket to download the data. The climate, which was as a to-do from the MeteoGate, is partially integrated to the system, so I can show it that it's working, but there's still some work to do. And as an example, I will take the climate aggregator observations from all across EU. So these are daily observations. This posts all the locations which are available through the climate API, and I recognize these are actually from the Netherlands. And if I go down, these are from the Netherlands, I think. Well, Kesteto, probably Hungary. I'm not sure. Or does anyone recognize this? But as a demonstration, these are from different countries. You can access the data through the climate API. Because these are aggregated from different systems, they have a slightly different metadata provided. So some of the stations, I guess, is this from Norway or maybe Iceland? They are providing all the parameters together with the station, and whereas the Netherlands is providing only the station information. I'm most familiar with the ISO because I've been one of the developers doing it. So ISO is also accessible through MeteoGate, where you can find all the surface observations, sub 10 minute and more. So the collections endpoint is accessible, which provides all the different observation types with the different durations or aggregation functions, and also the available parameter names as a whole. So for example, air pressure at mean sea level at 1 meters point and 1 PTM. The locations endpoint is the one which was shown in MeteoGate, providing all the locations of the stations. So as a machine readable, it's quite a huge list of different places. I cannot remember the amount of places from top of my head, but let's just say maybe close to 2,000. Vegard can provide more information if needed.
I think we have 2,000 just in Norway, so it's.
That's true. That's true.
I think we
Show
have
off.
close to 10,000, especially if you look at the Meteo France coverage.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there's quite a lot of stations available through MeteoGate. I've chosen Helsinki-Vantaa as an example. If I query for Helsinki-Vantaa, I get all the parameters available through Helsinki-Vantaa. And as you can see, we're publishing some minute data from there, and also some hourly data. And for example, the radiation is one of those which is providing as 1 minute intervals. So there's quite a lot of data. We have provided some custom dimensions, so you can only also use them through MeteoGate. So if you're, for example, interested on observations which are only measured at the level of 1.5, and this is the VMO standard height of observations, I can see it filters out some and provides, for example, air pressure, cloud area fraction, and I can filter it out even more if I'm interested only in observations between 0 and 2 meters with the aggregation of maximum and minimum. So here you can see there's hourly data for example, maximum air temperature of each hour. These were all the local components, and MeteoGate is also capable of publishing your NHMS APIs. So you can provide access to your national API through MeteoGate, and you can provide add, for example, restrictions on that you need to register to use it, and you can also add restrictions on how many requests per minute a user can make. I can show you how to access the FMI national EDR through MeteoGate. So we provided a route through MeteoGate, which is then accessing data through FMI EDR. This is the landing page, and these are all the collections. So, for example, if your EDR API is providing different kinds of collections, you can provide them to MeteoGate and allow access to the public from here. As our EDR is publishing some forecast data, for example, so we can provide the access to EDR and our forecast data through MeteoGate. There's, for example, the Harmony Scandinavia hybrid forecast. And again, as an example, I'm using Helsinki-Vantaa Airport to show some data from our national EDR through MeteoGate. So this is only the parameter name is what we use for air temperature every minute average. So you can see that it's publishing 10-minute data, and you can get the values from Helsinki-Vantaa there. Also through for MeteoGate, we provide a discussions forum, so it's an easy place for users to ask questions regarding MeteoGate, and we try to answer them as fast as possible. And since Timo mentioned the WIS2 integration, I will also show the MQTT for you. Just changing the share window. So as a demonstration of the API, this is the internal queue. You're seeing the MQTT window, right? This is the internal queue of ESO, and every blip there is a new observation coming in. I've been running this Explorer for maybe an hour or so, so you can see that each message is a new observation arriving to the system. So we get quite loads of observations every minute or every second, actually. These are the countries which are publishing straight to the ESO system, with Norway providing access to the GTS system. So Norway is working as a link And you can see, for example, from this Vicus ID that this is from this 250 is Germany, I guess, or France.
I think it's Germany, because I got a question from Dennis the other day. That was 250. So
yes, the internal queue is also accessible. So what users could do is subscribe to one country, one institution, one station, and then either get all the observations from there, or if you're interested in, for example, air temperature, you could subscribe to only the air temperature and get, this is from Salla, quite north up in Finland, and you could get the observations at the same time that they're arriving to the system. Together with the observation, there's also metadata provided. So, for example, the license and what conventions it is using, and the data, and then links to, for example, the Finnish Open Data Catalog. The WIS2 has its own queue, so I will show it there.
Jukka,
yes,
did you show the new freely accessible username and password now?
No, this is my own, so I didn't have that. So currently they are accessible through the freely accessible password credentials, and they are restricted that you cannot publish with those passwords, those credentials. These are now with my credentials. I'm sorry for that, but so the ESO is currently in the works of providing the correct WIS2 queue. So after that's done in coming weeks, also the data you're publishing to ESO, as you can see, it's also published to WIS2. So I think this the ID here, which needs to be changed, and then it's compliant with WIS2. Here you can see that now there's some Norwegian data flowing in. So these are not hierarchically made for each country. So it's one queue, and the user needs to make some filtering on their own, but everything you publish here will then get published to WIS2 from ESO. And this is also what the ORD is doing, and what the Meteo Alarm is also providing through their queues, but I've only got access to ESO currently. Well, I think that's most of the demonstration. So I will answer some questions now if anybody has some questions.
I'm expecting a question from our users. They are interested in the climate part, especially, and if they will ask what about the full operability of the MeteoGate for this data? When do you plan to have it fully operational?
I can only answer the part of from MeteoGate side, so I don't know if there's anybody from the work packet 5. There's Willy can provide some answers, but I cannot say the timeline from work packet 5. So, but Willy, please.
Yeah, and Clement, jump in if you want to add anything. One of the issues with the climate aggregator was that we didn't actually find out until, well, really early this last month that we had definitely had funding for it that would cover it for the rest of the program phase. As a result of that, it will need to be transitioned from KNMI on the Amazon Web Service to the EWC, the C3S part of the EWC, and we'll start onboarding more. I think you're one of the partners that are already onboarded, aren't you? Your data's there, but there's not many. So we're going to be working with KNMI to start the onboarding the rest of the partners, and then the rest of the UNet members. In the next couple of weeks, we'll start having those discussions and start the onboarding.
Yes, and from the part of MeteoGate, we are ready to onboard it as soon as the work packet is has finalized. So as I know, visualized, it is already accessible through the MeteoGate, but there is some integration work need to do. So, for example, if you would, Dana, say a place close to you, I could probably show it from here.
Bucharest.
Bucharest, yes. Let's see. Is there a station called Bucharest, or do you have a Vigos ID, perhaps?
Maybe Filaret, but maybe it's difficult to write it.
Yeah, well, if
okay.
it's ingested to the system, it is accessible through MeteoGate, but there's some Filaret, all right.
But in terms of the first question from Dana was that when is the system operational? So from our point of view, the system is operational. I think that was the sort of the main message here.
Yes.
The second question was there's still a question as to when the climate aggregator part will be operational, and that's not there yet, if I understood correctly.